Hey folks, Gene Galin with the Chatham Journal. I'm Coach Randy Cox here. I mean, I shouldn't be wearing shorts. I don't have the best looking legs. But anyway, we're going to talk about Northwood High School and how you folks have done this year. Yep. And I think when we were talking about ACC lacrosse, you mentioned just the toughness and that experience of being there. And last year, the team overcame some obstacles there and got into that championship game. So.
We did. Yep, and we lost some of those key players. And so, this year was somewhat of a rebuilding year. We have a lot of young players, and we ask a lot of them. And this year, I think we were 11-5 overall, right? In terms of the conference record. And then we were 11-8 overall, playing teams outside of the conference. And we did that, and quite frankly, it's a tremendous accomplishment for the boys to have done that. We ended up tied for third in the conference. We did that, and I think it's important to note that we have limited players. I think we have 19 on our roster. And so with the coming of Seaforth High School and the changing of who is attending Northwood versus who's attending today and who's at Seaforth, it was a bit of a challenge, and we asked a lot of our freshmen and our sophomores to step up. And so, we go into the playoffs here, and we play Voyager on Friday night. We got a bye for the first round, and then if things play out, we are potentially going to play Croatan at Croatan once again. They are a very good team.
You played them early in the season here, though, didn't you? On a Saturday.
We did, and we were without a couple of our players. No excuses. Croatan's a good team. We've got to do all things that we need to do on the field. We have to do them right, and we got to hope they make mistakes. But I have all the confidence, and I talked to the boys tonight just about believing in themselves. The playoffs are the playoffs are the playoffs, and there's nothing like it. And you look at basketball as an example this year, and NC State making it to the Final Four. Okay, right. That's a team that I think their mantra was, "Why not us?" And they believed in themselves, and they took it as far as they could and almost took it to the big dance and the big game, right? So same thing holds true in the high school game, and I told the boys we need to be great at the basics. We need to go ahead and make sure every ground ball is a Charger ground ball. We need to make sure that we control the ball on offense. We need to play good, solid defense. We have one of the best goalies in the conference and potentially in the state, in James Flanagan. And so, we're looking to do good things, but they've got to go ahead and be committed. They got to believe, and we got to play 48 minutes of lacrosse for the next how many games we have.
Let me ask you about your coaching philosophy, because I noticed at one of the games, I don't think it was the Orange game, I think it was the game previous to that, and that might have been Seaforth. It was right before the end of the half. You called a timeout, and there was, I think, there was definitely less than a minute. And you're talking to the players, and some of the players start reinforcing or start telling each other what you're telling you. And I know some coaches is kind of like, no, you got to listen to me, but you seem to. You kind of seem to reinforce that concept where the players are out there supporting what you're saying, and I think you were telling them to hold the ball so that you could have it for the next half.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, just make sure we say that loud. So is that what are you trying to achieve when you're coaching? Are you trying to get everybody involved? Because I have found that your guys talk to each other a lot.
Yeah. No, it's well, I say it to the boys all the time. It's not my team. I just happen to have the privilege to be your head coach. And I think our assistant coaches feel the same way. It's your team, right? So there's a messaging throughout the year to take ownership. And then, there's key times in a game, and that just happened to be one time where I needed to make sure that they understood, because we were going to be man up. There was a penalty. We were going to be man up, and in that situation, we have to have the ball in our stick. We have to hold it. And we always say to the boys on the sideline to echo the call. So You know, there's that messaging from the sideline, there's messaging from me and the assistant coaches, and in part the echo of the call on the sideline by the sideline is because sometimes, believe it or not, at a high school game it gets pretty loud.
Yes.
And you can't hear, so I might be yelling and it's falling on deaf ears only for the boys to echo the call, and then they finally hear it. So you know, I've been coaching for a long time, not just the high school game, but it really is a team sport, and the best teams, the ones that support each other and believe in each other, give themselves a chance, if they have a little bit of luck, to get to the big dance.
You had a bunch of seniors, they're not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
You had a nice ceremony out there. I saw some of the parents. I think they appreciate you being their coach, but I also saw some of the parents tear up about it.
Sure.
What's your feeling about the guys graduating this year?
You know, they are, and I told them in an email communication that they've been an instrumental part of our program. They have helped make us who we are today. Many of them were part of what we accomplished last year.
Yep.
We don't accomplish last year and put Northwood in a position to be in a state championship game without those 8 seniors that are graduating this year. Yes, we lost a bunch last year as well, and so it was the collective whole that really gave us an opportunity to accomplish what we did last year. And, you know, I even said with this group now this year, you know, they've been here before, so they know what it feels like. They know the pace of game, they know the energy that it takes, they know the focus, and hopefully they bring that to the equation this year to be in a leadership role for those freshmen and not necessarily the sophomores, because the sophomores, many of them were with us, but even the new sophomores that are first-time players, they're contributing this year, and it's that leadership of the seniors, and we don't have any juniors on this team, which is really mind-boggling.
So next year is going to be a rebuilding year for you.
Next year you got sophomores, freshmen, there'll be juniors, sophomores, and any freshmen coming in, which will be a challenge in and of itself. So yes, rebuilding, and rebuilding. And in part, you know, I don't want to go ahead and comment on how it got this way necessarily, but with the new high school and how they did what they did with certain neighborhoods, I think we're going to be at 700 student body, and our competing high school is going to be at 1,100.
Right.
So I'll leave it at that.
Folks who are aware of it are aware of it. We don't need to go there.
Right.
Anything else folks need to know about the lacrosse team for the rest of, well, your end of season is, the regular season's over, so you're going into playoffs.
No, you know, just I appreciate the community support. I know the boys do. We appreciate the parental support throughout the year. It really makes a difference, and the culture that we've built here, I think, is one that our parents, our players appreciate, and we look forward to what we can accomplish over the next 2-3 weeks. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking time to interview me.
Well, as folks know, and I've mentioned this before about Coach Randy, he's not just coaching your kids for lacrosse. He's coaching your kids for life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've shot sports for over 20 years, and I've seen that kids that participate, there's stuff you learn on the field
Mm-hmm.
that you don't learn in the classroom. And the stuff you hear about usually is the bad stuff.
That's right.
But you got so many more kids
Mm-hmm.
that succeed not only in the sport, but in life. And you mentioned all the folks you ran into at the Duke UNC game.
Yeah.
How many of those guys are successful? Bunches of them are.
No,
aren't they?
it's well, we say at UNC it's not a 4-year commitment, it's a 40-year commitment.
There you go.
Because you move on, and then it becomes helping those that were students with employment and just life in general. And so I could tell you stories that would make you tear up, and they're recent to this year. So we support each other. It's a tremendous family that you become a part of when you play the game of lacrosse, and it's special.
Yeah. So as I said, I appreciate this man being here. I appreciate a lot of the coaches here in Chatham County Schools, because a lot of times you're doing more than just coaching the game. There's life lessons. Sometimes you're a surrogate parent.
Yes, indeed.
It's not the easiest job. Look, I can say this. He doesn't have to say this. Parents, you need to sometimes relax, enjoy the game, enjoy your kids' performance, enjoy the coaches, and enjoy the refs. So that's me just being preachy. But hey, Coach Randy and his gang is going to be in the playoffs. And thank you so much for watching, and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you very much.
You
Appreciate it,
welcome.
bud.